Welcome to Canning Fruits and Vegetables. I am your hostess, Darlene Wagner. Today, we will be making our own homemade spaghetti sauce and putting them up in sealed mason jars so we can enjoy fresh tomatoes from the garden with fresh garden basil year-round. So, our first order of business in making our own homemade spaghetti sauce is to have nice Italian seasonings. Notice we have minced garlic. We used a large bulb of garlic having well over a dozen cloves, 2 small or medium-sized onions, and both the onions and the garlic are very finely diced up. Our dry spices will be a little supplemental dried garlic and leaf oregano, some dried basil. Our fresh garden basil will go in later, a little bit of black pepper. But the most important ingredient for starters is olive oil. Please note that our prior work in mincing the garlic and onions started about 30 minutes ago, like at 10 till 3. So it is almost 3:30 now. And this will be a major time commitment, making spaghetti sauce for home canning. Half a cup of olive oil. Turn on the heat. Don't let it get too hot. Let it warm for about a minute and then begin adding the onions and garlic. So add the onions. Add the garlic. Give them a stirring. Two small cans of canned mushrooms. Now, ready to do some sauteing and stirring. So now we have a good steady sizzle going for our minced onions, minced garlic, and canned mushroom. Now we can begin adding seasonings. Should be 2 teaspoons of salt. How to maybe make it 2 tablespoons of the dried leaf oregano. One tablespoon of the dried basil leaves. And we will wait on the dried garlic until we can do a taste test and determine if it's needed. And a 1/4 teaspoon, a very little amount of black pepper. Okay, so we have pretty much finished roasting our garlic and onion along with the seasonings and mushrooms. Now we've got to start on the tomatoes themselves. Get the pan to where it is over half full. Now note this is about roughly almost 6 gallons of tomatoes. I will turn on the heat. Our main task for the next hour or so will be to boil down the tomatoes until they're less watery and of course completely thawed out, since these were originally frozen after skinning. And also note that our garlic and onion seasoning mixture is not going to be added in until several 1 to 2 hours from now, to make sure that our tomatoes are well rendered down and we do not overcook our seasoning mixture and ruin its flavor. So now it is 6 o'clock. We have been boiling the tomatoes down to get them thick so that they're not watery anymore, or less watery. And we have also started our mason jars and dome lids to a boil. We can probably turn these down now because that water has to become easier to handle. Now we are ready to add our seasonings that we stir-fried. Don't want to lose any of our seasonings. Mix things up. Now we need to add the vinegar. Most important, half a cup of balsamic vinegar. Time for our first taste test. Make sure there's sufficient acidity. Okay. Add half a cup of the white vinegar. Probably add the rest of the vinegar just to make sure that our sauce does not go bad while it is being stored. It prevents growth of microbes. After tasting, we also figured that we need some extra garlic. We don't really have time to cut it all up and roast more garlic, so we're just going to use powdered garlic. 1 heaping teaspoon. That should be enough. Just to make sure it's garlicky. So here we are ready to also add our garden basil. Since we're in our final boil phase, we don't want to cook it too much, but it will be cooked. So this is about 2 cups of basil leaves. I carefully removed the stems from the plants that I trimmed from our garden. So I'm just gonna start shredding it the best I can with a knife and cutting board. After chopping our basil leaves, we're ready to put them in, and our pot is starting to get back to a boil. Now, all we have to do is let this cook in there for about a minute, and we're going to be ready to fill the jars. Okay. We are now ready to fill the jars. Oh, too much. And here you can see I added too much. You need at least ½ inch of headspace. So I hope you can see that the reason that I had to take some out after putting it in is that I need to leave enough room at the top for headspace. So here, as you can see, we have 9 pints of sauce. And it's time to lower them into the water bath. They can be at a boil for 5 to 10 minutes. Note that the time is now 20 till 7. So just to give you an idea how long the process has taken so far. So you have been watching Canning Fruits and Vegetables, and we have successfully made pint jars of concentrated spaghetti sauce. And please note that these are concentrated with lots of spices, so when you open them to use in an Italian recipe, you may want to use an equal amount or more of plain tomato sauce, and some tomato paste may also help with the thickness. So it has taken a little over 4 hours for the entire process. So this is a major time commitment, but I believe it is very rewarding. So again, you've been watching Canning Homemade Fruits and Vegetables with Darlene, and thank you very much.